All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the AdMaCom 2021 Demo Day. I'm very glad to see a lot of people here. A bit sad that we can't see all these people in person in one very big space in Berlin, but we'll do our best to still have a great event today. So thank you very much for joining. So this is the sixth time we organize an AdMaCom Demo Day. The second time we have to organize it online. But as usual, we have a really cool group of startups, 11 startups for you today, and you'll see them pitch and you'll find out a little bit about the technologies of tomorrow through these pitches. So what are we going to be doing? We have, well, we'll start with an intro. This is the intro, and I'll tell you a little bit more about INAM and AdMaCom, and then I'll hand it over to our last AdMaCom winner from October 2020, Traceless, who have some success to report to date, so that would be nice to hear. And then we have a couple of our mentors, 2 out of roughly 60 mentors that we had this time around, telling us a bit about their mentoring experience, about AdMaCom, and generally why it's important to support accelerator programs. And then we'll go into what is probably the most exciting part of today, the startup pitches. So as I said, we have 11 startups, and I'll tell you more about who they are as we come closer to the pitches. We'll come close to the end of the live stream around 3:15, 3:30. And before that, we'll hear from the head of the INAM board, Ferdinand Bartels, and also a word from IBB, Investitionsbank Berlin, who are one of the AdMaCom sponsors. And at the end, we'll announce 2 of the 3 prizes that we have at AdMaCom. So we have a crowd favorite, which is where all of you watching us today from wherever you are in the world get to decide which of the pitches was the most convincing one for you, which company you thought was really the most promising, which technology you thought was most exciting. So as we go through the startup pitches, make sure to remember to take a note of which one you like the most, maybe have a little scorecard that you improvise, and then at the end I'll ask you to vote online. And then we also have a mentor's choice. So I'll go into that in a bit, but essentially it is the startup that got the highest scores from the mentors throughout the 200 mentoring sessions we had in the last 2 weeks. We also have a main prize, which is going to be decided by the jury. And that one, for the sake of keeping this live stream manageable in terms of time, we will announce later on after our event. And I'll tell you about that as we come closer to the end of the live stream, but we'll announce it on our LinkedIn page, so you can find it there. And I'll tell you how to find the LinkedIn page as well in a bit. So I'd like to start by saying thank you to our sponsors. AdMaCom is generally supported by the members of INAM, who make all of our activities possible, and specifically AdMaCom. But just for AdMaCom alone, we have 3 additional sponsors, and these are IBB, Investitionsbank Berlin, and we'll hear from Konstantin, who was here with us in the call towards the end. We also are lucky to have Berlin Partner as a sponsor. They've supported AdMaCom the whole time since 2016, and they are a sponsor for this edition as well. And Sonnenberg Harrison are a sponsor for the second time for AdMaCom. So thank you all very much. It's great to see companies and organizations willing to support initiatives like AdMaCom, and we hope to have more in the future. Good. So some of you who are here today maybe came to see a startup, or maybe you heard that something was going on and you thought, okay, I'll watch, but maybe you don't know who we are. So just to give you a quick introduction, we're the Innovation Network for Advanced Materials, and what we aim to do is to support innovative ideas, products, technologies, processes that have something to do with advanced materials. And if you're a bit confused and you're wondering what advanced materials are, luckily the 11 startups we have today are quite representative of the wide range of technologies and applications we see in this field. So that'll give you an idea of what we do. How do we do this? We aim to facilitate these collaborations by bringing together corporates, startups, research institutes, but also SMEs and investors. So really any type of actor or organization that has a vested interest in this field can become part of INAM and can support us in finding the right matches for everyone. We're based here in Berlin. That's why our domain is inam.berlin, but we work with startups and companies from all over the world. So if you are based anywhere in the world and this sounds like a good idea for you, feel free to get in touch with us. These are our current members. We have over 70 companies and research institutes in our network. Some may be more known to you than others, and you can see we work with quite known companies, but also with very early stage startups. So we're happy to welcome companies at all stages of development, really. And if you are from an SME or a larger company and you're wondering why you would join INAM, these are some of the benefits of the companies that have joined us so far. We organize innovation challenges, open innovation challenges for our members. So if you have a specific challenge that has something to do with materials, we can support there. You have full access to our accelerator, and that is AdMaCom. It's what you're watching right now. Not just to the startups who you will see today on the demo day, but also, for example, to all of the applicants. You have access to our database that is forever increasing, where we gather all the knowledge we have about what is happening in the world of materials, what startups are there, what companies are active, and we do additional startup scouting depending on the members' interests. And overall, we try to maintain this very vibrant international network and keep you posted on what is going on in the industry. So those would be, I would say, some of the core benefits of being in INAM, apart from just getting to know a lot of cool, interesting people. So AdMaCom has been happening since 2016. We have a bit of experience now in what we're doing. With the 6th edition, we've supported 67 startups from more than 20 countries. And I'm happy to say that most of them we continue to support. So even though it's a short 2-week program, it's not a short-term relationship. It's more like a very long-term commitment. So we continue to work with these companies for quite some time. And I'm happy to see some of them coming back to us and continuing to be active in INAM. Now I'd like to hand it over to Traceless. They won AdMaCom in October 2020. They're a very young company, but already have some nice updates to report. So I'll pass it to Johanna to tell us more about that.
Hey, Antonia. Hey, everyone. So good to be here. And thanks for having me. And thanks for the nice intro. So yeah, my name is Johanna Bare, COO and co-founder of Traceless Materials. Traceless is a circular bioeconomy startup based in Hamburg in Germany. And we offer a truly sustainable alternative material to conventional plastics and bioplastics with the mission to solve the global plastic pollution. And yeah, we participated in AdMaCom last autumn, really, and won, which is great, and was especially great because it got us a lot of introductions, a lot of partnerships with both potential customers, but also, and that is, I think, what Antonia referred to, with potential investors. So when we participated in AdMaCom last year, we had literally just founded the company. And so we hadn't really thought about our financing yet, or at least we hadn't made up our strategy mind about the financing yet. And yet, despite that, we were approached after AdMaCom and through AdMaCom by first investors that were interested in investing in us. And now we just closed this investment round, which is great because that will allow us to build our first pilot plant and thereby ramp up our production, which is very important to us. But what I would maybe like to give you all on the way with from our experience is that having been approached that early through AdMaCom by these potential investors that are, by the way, very specialized in biotech, which helped us a lot. It's always good to have an investor on board that really understands your technology and can, by the way, also explain that technology to the other investors. That helped us a lot in the negotiations. But also, since we started that early on, building the relationship with the investors, I am convinced that that helped us a lot. In the actual negotiations, where you then get a little bit deeper into things, and where things might get a little bit tough at times, to have built a good relationship with these potential investors beforehand, that helped a lot in the negotiations. So if there's any investors here, reach out to these startups. I'm sure there's a couple of really, really great ones that will pitch today. And as startups, start early thinking about your investment way and trajectory, because yeah, building relationships early and before you actually get into the ask stage of the negotiation can really help and go a long way, I think.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you very much, and thanks for coming back to us to tell us that. And I know that one of your investors, the Theta Gründerfonds, they are also here today. They're also part of our jury, and I see Nick waving. So it's nice to hear that. I would also like to ask two of our AdMaCom mentors. So I mentioned we have quite a lot of mentors who joined for this program. We had about 60 in this cohort. So that's a lot of effort on their side that we, by the way, don't pay them for. We only reward them with the nice comments that the startups then have to give back. And I do think that the experience is rewarding for them as well as mentors. So I picked two of them, Torsten and Faisal, to ask them to join us today, just to say a couple of words about their AdMaCom mentoring experience. And maybe I'll ask Torsten to go first if you'd like.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me first start to explain what mentoring actually means to me. So what I understand by doing mentoring. So it could be just straightforward giving a technical advice or providing a straightforward technical solution. But more often, it's a much bolder approach. It's about asking questions. And that means as a mentor, one should not be shy of asking questions, even sometimes not be shy of being incompetent of a certain topic. Because the advantage a mentor has is we are not involved in the daily activities of the startups. So by questioning and trying to understand the activities, we can point to certain problems or in procedures and processes. So what we are giving us, or what I am trying to do at least, is giving an outsider's view, trying to provide a different perspective or a different approach. So the AdMaCom this year, so far was the most diverse and most heterogeneous one. And as Christina already pointed out, in terms of materials as well as in terms of the status the startups are. So just let me give you a couple of examples. So what I will remember is the mentoring session I had with Brown Valve. So I started the session talking to Shaolin, one of the team members, and later on Boris Schmidt joined, and he just boldly said, "Sorry for being late, but I'm just coming from a heart transplantation." The first thought I had, wow, I mean, I cannot compete with any similar explanation for being late for a meeting. You know? The second thing what happened is it changed my understanding of the word material. I'm a physicist and my background is semiconductor physics. So materials are mostly something solid. Yeah, maybe some bio material, but I haven't thought about a human tissue being a material you can use to produce a heart valve from. So that was something which impressed me and also made me rethink my ways, for example, looking or thinking about the term material. A couple of other examples for the startups being quite advanced is the discussion I had with Guy Varone from Polymetal. So we discussed quite intensively the pros and cons of moving forward to mass production. What would be the advantage? On the other hand, what would be the advantage of staying small and working more on a project base? That is a question which Thibaut from Nanos never asked. For him, going to mass production is the only the way to go. And the idea he has is to doing it fabless, so without setting up his own fab. So that's one side of the spectrum of the startups I mentored. But on the other hand, there were also startups in a quite early stage, like Arthur from Q&A. He's a physicist like me, but instead of going into technical discussion about quantum dots, we actually talked about what has to be taken into account when a startup actually leaves the university, as Q&A is actually doing now, and becomes an independent company. So what should be changed in the way they look at projects, how they handle projects, to become something like not a research team, but more a business. Yeah, and that's a similar but also very different discussion I had with Montgomery and Benedict from Ioncraft. And well, last but not least, I will also still remember the discussion I had with Carol from Conovate, because she made a remark which actually tells a lot about the attitude all of the starters had, because she just plainly said, well, I left university and I'm now working full-time for my startup. And that's what they all have in common. You know, they are all very focused. They all show 100% commitment for their goal. They are willing to try something new, leaving their comfort zone, and also they are willing to take a risk and go a step further to achieve their goal. And on the other hand, I'm also benefiting from mentoring. Explaining my ideas and giving advice makes me to review my own thinking, modify it, change it, and listening to the startups and their new approaches and also running projects, I quite learn a lot. I get new ideas about what I could actually change and, well, for the company I'm working for Specs. So it's always very exciting, and yeah, I love it.
Thank you so much, Torsten. We appreciate your comments, and I know the startups do as well. And it's nice to hear that everyone has something to learn, also the mentors. I'll pass it over to Faisal now. Faisal works for Sony in his full-time job, but as a part-time job, he mentors for AdMaCom sometimes.
Hi guys, thank you, Antonia. And it will be difficult to follow Torsten now because he has gone in much detail with the personal conversations and the lessons that he has learned as well. But I've a lot of things that he has said. Maybe I'll try to sort of encompass them in a more general tone so that it can serve as a sort of a guide rather than the individual advice. And personally speaking, I never understood the meaning of mentoring until I was in my professional career. To me, mentor was someone who had all the answers, like I used to get in my school and college. I called them teachers, by the way, so that's why they never stuck with me. But in life, questions are not always as straightforward as they were in, let's say, a calculus lecture or a physics class. So as I progressed through my career, the definition and understanding of that word mentor completely changed significantly. To me, mentoring is not about, let's say, giving you all the answers, but the ability to shape your thoughts and personality towards them, like cutting the nooks and crooks of a plant to shape its growth and open up the path for that flower to grow as tall as it's got the potential in it. I remember Rob Proctor famously said that a mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within you than you see in yourself and helps bring it out for you. So finding a mentor essentially can be a long process, but programs like AdMaComs and these accelerators are great in easing the path with the same purpose, which is to guide and shape your thoughts towards your own direction of success and achievement, right? So we all have our own paths to follow, but seeing and listening from those who have seen the other side of your perspective can greatly help in, let's say, realizing the pitfalls of the roads that you're walking on. And I like the quote from Oprah on that side, where she said that a mentor is who is someone who also allows you to see the hope inside you. And I hope personally that these sessions that you guys have gone through, pretty long and enduring sessions with different opinions of different mentors as well, you actually came up with the new hopes and visions and made you start thinking in the ways which you usually did not think before you actually joined this program as well. This was my first mentoring in AdMaCom, and I had a chance to speak to some of you. And as Torsten pointed out, the spectrum was pretty broad. Some at the stage of simply ideation, and some with the decades of experience under their belt. And that goes to show as well that no matter at what stage of the life you are, it is always okay to ask for help. None of us know everything. But having this courage to say that I don't know is an absolutely great asset. And I hope that you all continue with this attitude that I don't know everything and achieve success. I personally have had really great conversations, and I learned a lot from these discussions as well. And I hope that so have you. And best of luck for your future.
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you both for sharing these insights with us and for telling us what mentoring brings. If someone listening thinks that they could be a good mentor for AdMaCom, get in touch. We're always adding more mentors to our mentor portfolio, if I can call it that. So glad to hear from you. Before we go into the pitches, which I know you're all waiting for, I want to tell you what the startups have gone through over the last 2 weeks. So this is an accelerator program, but unlike others, it's very short. It's only a 2-week program. And what we try to do in these 2 weeks is pack quite a lot of things with the hope that all of this information will then be slowly distilled over the next weeks and months while the startups remain in the INAM network. So in 2 weeks, we had 11 startups going through in total 200 mentoring sessions, not each, that would have been a bit of an overkill. About 20 hours of trainings and workshops, and this one live streamed demo day, which you're all at today, and which will stay on our YouTube channel after this as well. So if you know people that should be keeping an eye out for startups and materials, feel free to send them this link. This is all to say that they've worked quite hard and they've had quite busy afternoons and days. They've prepared also quite intensely for their mentoring sessions. And so now we hope to see the results of that, not just in their pitch, but in their upcoming months and years. Before we start, I'd like to introduce you also to our jury, and maybe they can quickly say hi as I go through them. So we have on the jury today, Garrett Traceless from Berlin Partner for Business and Technology. Hi, Garrett. Maybe he can't unmute yet, but I hope he's here. Then we have Ralf Westerheide from Bosch.
I'm sorry.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Garrett. And hi, Ralf. You're with us? You're with us, I see you. Then we have Ran Escher from Continental, Contitech, to be more specific.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here.
Hey, Ran. We have Wilhelm Hüttenes from Hüttenes Q.
Hello together.
Nick Raup from Hightech Gründerfonds.
Happy to be here.
Ginevra de la Porta from Science Group.
Hi, everyone.
And Tonino Greco from Sony.
Hi, everyone.
So this is our jury for today. They've been briefed. They know what they have to do. They are going to pay a lot of attention to your presentations, and they will look at what is the potential of the technology, the potential your technology has to succeed within the market that you've chosen, and also how strong is your team and how likely is it that this team will drive your success. These are all things you know about already. Please don't change your pitch now based on what I said. And yeah, so at the end of the live stream, the jury will go and have an intense debate for 30-40 minutes and decide who the winner should be. And we will then announce that to the wider audience later on, and to our startups. I'll keep you posted on what we do. Please don't go anywhere. All right, we're going to go into the pitches. We have 11 startups today, so we've divided this cohort into 2 groups. We'll have these 5 startups pitching first. Then we'll take a tiny break. It's not even a break, it's just a recap of what happened, and then we'll go into the next 6. So we'll start off with Biomotix, then we'll go travel from Denmark to the US and hear from Ibeam Materials. Then we'll go to Israel to find out what Polymetal is doing, then come back closer to Germany. We'll go to France and meet Nanos, and then go to Switzerland and meet Compare. And I hope you'll take this little journey with us. So with that, I'll pass it on to Peter from Biomotix, who will share his screen and tell us all about his company. You have 3 minutes each, and then we'll take 1 question from the jury. Okay, Peter.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen, and here we go. Can you see it?
Yeah, perfect.
Very good. Off we go. My name is Peter Thomsen. I am the founder and CEO of Biomotix. Biomotix is an advanced materials and biotech company making a cure for bladder diseases. The main problem of bladder diseases is the fact that bladders are emptying frequently. That's a main problem, because how can you treat something which is emptying all the time? Actually, this has not been solved. It's a gap, and we are answering the question how to maintain drugs within the bladder. We are aiming to solve a range of bladder problems. First of all, we have 150 million infections in the bladder. We have high cancer costs, $200,000. We have 40% of all humans having problems with overactive bladder. Balloons in bladders, in bladder catheters, they're used to anchor catheters within the bladder. This is well known. This is standard technology. 150 millions are used every year. What is new is the fact that Biomotix have balloons which are permeable. We are capable of making balloons which are permeable to drugs and the liquid, and then these drugs within the balloon, they can actually disperse into the bladder and treating the bladder locally. This is much more efficient, and actually it's something that people would really like to do. We do have a competitor. It's called Traceless. It's a US-based company, and they are working on a drug solution because they have a tubing with holes releasing drugs into the bladder. What is really unique about Biomotix solution is the fact that we have a solution verified by the European Medicines Agency. It's a drug, it's a device solution with a drug next to it. So we add the drug after mounting the device. That way, we are solving a 7-year, €1 billion challenge, and we outperform the competition, and we are free to move ahead with approved drugs. We focus on the US and the EU, and we are aiming to catch $2 billion markets within quite a few years. We have a strong team. We have management, production, academia, and hospitals combined in a team. That makes us strong. We asked for €5 million to finance 2 years, launch the product, arrange regulatory aspects, and aim for strategic alliances with large partners. To sum up, we have proven technology, we have a global market, we focus on strategy, and we have a team with industry experience, expertise, and key opinion leaders. And we have the world's first safe cure for bladder diseases. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter. Questions from the jury?
Yeah, Nick speaking. Thanks a lot. Very impressive pitch, very short and precise presentation. One short question back. You're talking about a competitor. Why not? How do you decide to come up with a 5 million? Why not raise more to be faster and even make more out of the kind of advantage that you already have to be even faster and more successful and capture the market better?
That's a very good question, but also it underlines the strength of Biomotix, because fact is that what we are aiming for is a medical device approval. And for sure, 5 million euros is more than enough to do a medical device approval. It is very inexpensive compared to a drug approval. I think that we can really do maximum speed with 5 million euros, but you are right. We have a platform technology. We can discuss how to speed it up in other applications. Our first target will be infections, then followed by cancer shortly after, and then overactive bladder. 40% of the world's population suffer from some of these problems. For sure, we can always talk about accelerating it further, but I think we have a balanced approach.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick, for the question, and thank you, Peter, for a great presentation. We'll go now to Ibeam materials. Peter, if you'd like to stop sharing your screen so that Vlad can share his.
I will assist. Stop share.
Perfect. Okay, Vlad, whenever you're ready.
Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are Ibeam Materials based in Santa Fe, New Mexico, USA, with a breakthrough technology to make LED sheets for future displays. Today's mobile displays, such as smartphones and tablets, are a $50 billion market dominated by LCDs and OLEDs. The future is expected to be in emissive micro-LED displays that are much more power efficient and brighter. Industry is using a rather brute force method to assemble these displays from tiny LED chips that are transferred from singulated LED wafers onto a display backplane. This is a rather complicated process, but it requires essentially 100% yield since every pixel has to work perfectly. Industry has spent 5 years or more and billions of dollars to trying to do the R&D in this space without any manufacturing yet. Ibeam has developed a revolutionary process to make high brightness inorganic LEDs on large area substrates such as metal foil. Industry today uses wafers of single crystal sapphire to make LEDs. Our patented process, which is schematically shown here on the bottom left, is an ion beam deposition process to create a single crystal-like layer on top of an arbitrary substrate, thereby eliminating the need for a bulk substrate for epitaxial deposition of inorganic materials. This is the first time in history, really, that high-quality inorganic optoelectronic materials can be deposited directly on metal foil. Now, how does this transform LEDs? It transforms them fundamentally in how they can be manufactured and how they can be used. First, in terms of manufacture, it changes two things. It changes scale. So now, instead of making small wafers, 4 and 6 inch, we can scale to large area, including roll-to-roll or large area sheets. And then in terms of cost reduction, we can provide significant cost reductions by orders of magnitude ultimately. In terms of how these displays, micro LED displays can be made now, no longer do these displays have to be made by transferring millions of tiny chips and assembling them in a display. They can be monolithically integrated in large areas, providing for super bright, paper thin, and flexible displays. Our markets are in many different areas. We've focused here specifically on mobile displays where industry has a problem and really not a good solution. But there are also displays, other displays in automotive and larger displays in wearables, as well as lighting space and power devices based on gallium nitride devices. About a year ago, we started partnering with Samsung. They made an early investment in our company, and we also have a JDA with them currently. We're working with them on developing displays. Our experienced team has not only depth of knowledge, but also experience in bringing new materials to market. We're seeking now 6 million to bring us to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. We'll take one question from the jury.
Hi, Vladimir, it's Ralf. So one question from my side. You have a great technology and your potential customers are very big companies. Do you want to concentrate only on selling the technology, or will you do something on your own manufacturing and then selling some products?
So we believe that we need to demonstrate manufacturability. So the next step for us is to demonstrate a reel-to-reel, smaller scale to precursor to roll-to-roll manufacturing production of LEDs on metal foil, as well as other large area substrates. So we need to demonstrate that first. Then we can decide to partner with different industry in both in display as well as lighting and other areas. There are products that we can make. We don't anticipate to be producer of displays, but there are products in lighting space that we can actually produce for end users.
It's a combination.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Vlad. Sure. Next up, we have Guy from Polymetal.
Okay, just a sec. Okay. Let's move this. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Guy from Polymetal. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if you could pick up a part that looks and feels like metal, but is actually just a third of the weight? What about if this part could be used in various functional applications while still being far greener and socially responsible than metals? So I'm Guy Varon. I'm the Business Development Director at Polymetal. And at Polymetal, we have this figured out. We're an innovative Israeli company that manufactures hybrid parts from polymer base with a metallic cover to solve complex requirements of modern industry. We do that by applying deep chemical surface etching technology. Our company is located in Haifa, Israel, and we were founded in 2013. Today, we're already 25 employees. We already have recurring revenue of several $1 million. We just won a Horizon 2020 grant for about $2 million for development of titanium plating over polymers. We're at the stage of global growth and Series A of funding, and we have future sites coming up in Israel and Poland for next year. We have 6 filed patents today and all the trade secrets of maintaining our process. We have also 2 sales and marketing activities in Germany and the United States, apart from our Israeli headquarters. What is the challenge that we try to solve? So today we know that products design and manufacturing is far more complex than it used to be. And parts have to be much lighter weight. They have to have metal properties like strength, electrical conductivity, and also sustainability approach. They have to be recyclable with low energy process. And of course, they have to be durable over time, both mechanically, thermally stable. And sometimes you also have to be complex 3D structures. And all that you have to maintain at a low price. So we see that new products have contradictory requirements which cannot be met by traditional manufacturing methods. Our technology is actually an evolution. That's how we perceive it. Metals started out somewhere in 1500 BC and evolved into polymers later on. Both of them had some issues, like metals were too heavy, they were limited in their geometry and they're expensive, and also they're not very sustainable, whereas polymers lack electrical conductivity, they absorb humidity, they do not transfer heat well enough, and they are low on strength. Then came composites in 1970s, and they were very expensive and also limited in geometry, and definitely not environmentally friendly. And hybrid materials is what Polymetal is offering is the future. They're much more sustainable. You can do it in any geometry that you want. They're easily available. And they can also be scaled up in production. So Polymetal takes the best of both worlds. We take the best of the polymer world and the best of the metal world. So we take from the polymer the low weight, the vibration and shock damping, the few required parts and the heat insulation. And from the metals, we take the electrical conductivity, the thermal conductivity, the prevention of moisture penetration, and the higher strength that metals provide. And all these we take together and bring into one single part, which is the best solution that we were able to find. Our value proposition is consisting of weight reduction of about 60% versus metals, providing metallic features like mechanical, thermal, and electrical conductivity. We're also very sustainable. We use carbon-free recycled materials, and our entire production process is chemical, so it's a very low energy process. All that is scaled up at a very low cost eventually. So you can see in the middle, there was one part here made up of 7 different parts that weigh 1.2 kilograms. We were able to reduce it to one part weighing only 360 grams. Our technology is a direct metallization plating. Our main innovation is the chemical surface etching technology. We take a polymer substrate, you can see in the middle of the screen in blue, and we surface etch it. We prepare the process of surface preparation treatment and create nanopores on the surface. And this is a pure chemical process. And then we do electroless metal plating of copper, which is the first substrate, is the first metallic layer, which creates the best adhesion strength between the polymer substrate and the metal. That's the best bond that we can get. And from there, the options are endless because to the metal layer, you can add any other metallic layer pretty easily. And we find that many of the functional parts that the industry is looking for come with a nickel finish. So today we're able to have very good adhesion between all these different layers and with the substrate material of the polymer. And we're able to, over 100 different polymers, we're able to enhance them. We're also very sustainable.
You have 20 seconds left.
Okay. We're also very sustainable, and our design is very effective for sustainability. It's a low energy process, and it's an alternative to polluting and non-recyclable materials. We have a big team that's in the management from big companies with vast experience in business, in sales, and in science, chemical engineering. And we're looking for mainly a big investment of round A of about a few $1 million or good partners in Europe to work with. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy. Testing the limits of whether I'll stop you in time or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone on the jury has any questions?
Sorry, it's me again, Nick. Thanks a lot. Very nice, precise presentation. So maybe you can explain very briefly a little bit more. What is your vision? Yeah. So we heard also from the introduction with the mentors. Do you want to go for like a large scale production? Are you rather setting up more locations for more smaller project type productions? What is your vision for the next years where you want to go?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you for that. It's one of the biggest ones that we have at Polymetal. I'd say that our vision is, first of all, to open up additional production centers. That's the big investment that we're going to be making in order to secure more business. And it can come from low scale businesses and higher scaling projects. Our next step would be scaling up from manufacturing several thousands of units per year per project to tens of thousands a year per project, which is a big step for us. After we see what we're getting to in that stage, we'll know better if we can scale up even more or if that was the best that the technology can offer. So that's still an open question, but today we're mixing both low volume and high mix projects with additional recurring projects that are a little bit higher in volume.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks, Guy, for the presentation. I'd like to remind everyone watching on YouTube that you can also ask questions. Maybe I didn't mention this or I didn't highlight it enough. So feel free to write your questions in the live chat for any of the startups that present. Also, if you just want to share with us what companies you're from, where you're joining us from in the world, that would be nice to see who's there. We do see that lots of people watching, but unfortunately, we don't know who it is. That's one of the downsides of running these events online. And with that, I will go to Nanos and hope that they're ready to present. Perfect.
Hello, I am Thibaut Selam, the CEO of Nanos. We are living in the world more and more polluted. The pollution is creating global warming, but also a lot of issues in terms of health. That's why Nanos, we developed since 2012 the smallest gas sensors selective. Let me start roughly with some use case. First use case where we are focusing is consumer electronic device like mobile phone, watch, or IoT device. Second use case, medical application, because gas coming out from skin or breath are correlating to disease. And third use case, vehicles, to measure the air quality inside the vehicles for the purifying system. In terms of technology, you have three main technology. Optical is working well, but you need the size, the price, and the power consumption is too high. Electrochemical, you need to calibrate component per component and to recalibrate over the time. And most technology, where we are, have all the advantage, price, size, power consumption, but this technology until now are non-selective. So to be able to measure one gas in a multi-gas environment. In terms of market, all the research market are showing the gas sensors market are increasing a lot, and the most technology will lead the market. What is our main advantage? Nanos, we create the selectivity. So we fix the biggest issue on this technology. So we are able to measure one gas in a multi-gas environment. In terms of market, as I said, there is 6 main markets: smart city, automotive, consumer device, where we are focusing, smart home, industry, our second focus due to the time to market, and medtech. In terms of IP, we have exclusive worldwide license on a patent owned by the CNRS and ex-Marseille University, and we made 6 years of R&D together. In terms of competition, the main thing is we are the only one who has the selectivity on this technology, and on other parameters, we are in good place also, for example, on the price. In terms of sales, we have already signed major mobile phone manufacturer player, major electrical equipment, and inside the tobacco industry, we have contract negotiation with other big players, and a lot of big companies have order evaluation board to test our technology. Our business model is fabless. We already raised 1 million in 2018. We have a staff of 10%. We are there because we want to raise 3 million and to find also partners. In terms of team, we have a very complementary team with a lot of experience and skills in each division. So, and to finalize, so as I said, we are there for fundraising of 3 million. And what you must remind is there is a strong market demand for gas sensors. We have already orders from prestigious customers, a solid patent portfolio, a very complementary team, and products soon available in mass production. Thank you very much. And I'm there for your question.
Thank you, Thibaut. I think we do have one question from the jury. Yes.
Hey there, this is Wilhelm speaking. Thank you very much for a very interesting introduction of your company. So my question is, if I understood correctly, your unique selling point is that you have the smallest gas sensors and that your gas sensors are very selective or specific to single target gases. How would that compare to, for instance, carbon nanotube based sensors, because there are quite some developments going on for microsensors with this technology as well?
So the nanotube is true. It's we made also some development on nanotube, especially for the smoke detector, because it was working well on smoke detector. But the biggest issue we was facing, it's the reproducibility in mass production of the carbon nanotube, because you need to have a very strong reproducibility in terms of structuration. And the nanotube, it was the process used for the nanotube in mass production was very complicated to be reproducible and to have algorithms working on this kind of layer.
Okay, and a follow-up question. What I asked myself immediately when I saw your tiny sensors is, obviously you would like to go into mass production with them. What are your plans with regards to scalability? So are you going to produce them yourselves, or are you going to contact a foundry for production? And what is the reliability of your chips if you go into mass production? Have you had first tests there already?
Sure. We are working on industrial chip, and we have already, since 2 years, we are industrializing our component with a small factory in France. We have a capacity of 12 million pieces per year. And we will use this fundraising to go with bigger players, like all the biggest big foundry. One of our main advantages is all the step of the process. It's is using normal machine and normal process from the semiconductor industry. So the only thing is to have a good partner who have good machine to have a good reproducibility. What we expect is to have 10 or minus 10% of manufacturing tolerances. Like this, our algorithms are able to cover the manufacturing tolerances to work on all the production.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Thibaut, for the presentation, and Wilhelm for the questions. And we'll go now to the final pitch in the first part, if that makes sense, and that is compare. Over to you guys.
Really great. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you see well my slides and that you can hear me well. So at Compare, we believe in a world without material waste. And I like to start with the fact that human beings like you or me are able to live for 80 years. But most of the products that we use every day last only a few years. This is a paradox now. And for us, that's exactly how it started, being inspired by nature to extend the lifetime of composite applications. So composite materials are applied to many industries thanks to their lightweight properties. They can be made of glass, carbon, or natural fibers embedded in a resin to create structural components. Even though they are very great, there is a big issue during their lifetime. Small cracks that grow more and more until catastrophic failure. And this is a global problem because on one side, people start to repair such kind of damage and this costs $17 billion per year. But not only that, for many applications, people just replace parts, generating a very high amount of waste that for 90% of them are not recycled. So this raises big question of lifetime management as well as sustainability. And at Compare, we bring the solution to reduce maintenance costs while having a positive impact on the environment. So our solution is textiles that are pre-impregnated with our magic chemistry. We sell those to part manufacturers and OEMs, for example, a sports equipment manufacturer or a shipyard, for them to manufacture full composite parts with new functionalities, an efficient and ultra-fast repair, as well as an efficient recycling. To demonstrate our technology, we manufacture several demonstrators, but specifically that one to show that we can manufacture complex shapes at a large scale using conventional manufacturing processes. We impacted it, and in the middle of your screen, you can see a typical damage. For you, it might be just a small spot, but actually for the industry, this is critical and people will spend many hours to repair it. With our solution, this is simple. We just come with a heat gun at 150 degrees for 1 minute and it's done. We recover all the initial mechanical properties. The beauty of this technology is that we can have multiple products with one magic chemistry, and we plan to extend our product portfolio to best meet the market needs. With Compare, we can touch the entire composites industry. However, we need to focus to best launch our venture. We have now an industrialized product attracting the sports and marine industries, and to secure our market entry and efficiently scale up, we just closed our seed investment round. Our vision at Compare is to provide full circularity to the composites industry by allowing efficient repair and recycling. With this circular economy model, we could reduce by 50% the composite resources needs and help to reach the UN Sustainable Development Goals 12 and 13. My name is Amael Coad, and this development directly follows my PhD thesis. And together with the incredible Compare team, we are the perfect combination to succeed and make a large impact with this technology on the market. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amael. We'll take one jury question. Do we have a jury question? Maybe your presentation was so clear that there's
no jury question
no questions to be asked. But this is a good reminder that if anyone watching us has questions, it would be really great if you put them in the chat and we'll take those. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thanks a lot.
So we're not taking a break, but I would like to kind of take a moment to recap everything we've seen so far before we go into 6 more startup pitches. So just to remind you, we started off with Biomotix, who are working on non-invasive chemistries for the healthcare sector. We then heard from Ibeam Materials, who are producing large area sheets of inorganic LEDs. And then we heard how Polymetal is creating functional hybrid parts for the industry. The last 2 pitches were Nanos, working on small selective gas sensors, and Compare, making healable and sustainable composite material solutions. So now if you are watching this on YouTube, make a little mental note, physical note, whatever kind of note you like to make, on which one of these startups you think should win the crowd favorite, and just keep that with you for now. You'll have 6 more pitches to listen to, but just try to remember which one you like the best. Okay, so we go into part 2, no break. Hope you're still with me and hope you're all still paying attention enough. And we have 6 more really exciting companies to show you. And these will be Ellipsium from Singapore, Elias in Dublin, Ireland, Conovate in the US, Ioncraft from Germany, also from Germany, but closer to us here in Berlin, Grown Valve, and then Q&A Technology from Poland. So with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and hand it over to Ellipsium.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Izhar. I'm from Elysium, and together with my co-founder Tommy, we're shaping the future of X-ray. We have quite an experienced team, both in venture development, product development, engineering, manufacturing, and also in core science with 2 professors, Xiaogang and Chishui. The issues that we're trying to address is basically the radiation in the room in medical imaging, but also the blurring effect when you want to do real-time imaging. We have developed new materials that they can address these issues. The main value proposition, the first one is that it's super sensitive, so we can take sharp images at low radiation. The second one is ultra fast, which means that we can take a lot of shots or a lot of images in real time with no blurring effect if the object moves. And the third one, so unlike current technology, which is a bulk crystal, which is flat, we can coat our material and create a curve detector. Our technology was patented, the patent was granted in Germany and is still pending in 3 countries. We had a good publication in Nature for this. And here you can see the benefits of having a curve detector. So on the left, you can see the way current detector works, which is a 3D image or 3D object, which most of the objects are 3D, and a flat detector. And as you can see below, there's a lot of overlap in the features. In our material, when you can curve it around the object or inside the object, you can see that the picture is much sharper because there's no overlap of features. In addition, because this technology is a memory film, you don't need to. It's not coupled with a photodiode, so you can increase the resolution to very high. On the right, you can see a iPhone 6 Plus chip. This is how it looks like under a microscope, and this is how it looks like under X-ray. And you see that the features are quite good, and the resolution is very high. And this is a 13 micron pitch or feature. This technology was also came out in Nature 2 months ago, and the patent is already in the PCT stage. It's a platform technology. We can go into medical security and automated inspection, where we're starting with. We're starting in the automated inspection, mainly because this is a less regulated market. And also we're leveraging on the fact that we can run very fast. So in this case of manufacturing, sometimes they need to go at about 300 items per minute, and we are able to do that without blurring. But we're also going into medical on the long run because we got a lot of customer pool there. In terms of positioning in the value chain, although we make raw materials, we chose to be positioned a bit down the value chain. Just to give you a bit of numbers, so this panel is about $40,000, while the raw materials side is about $1,000. So Elysium chose to sell the detectors, and the full systems go up to $500,000 to $1 million. As I said, this is the business model or approach, working with OEMs on the panels, selling into the system integrators, and working with the end customers or the end users on a totally new way of doing X-ray, for example, for mammography, to leverage on the curved features that we have. This is partners that we have and the roadmap. So a year ago, we spun off the company. We got a good pre-seed investment with support from the government and also from the university and angel investors. With that, we scale up on manufacturing and took that technology out from the university into our lab. Next year, we're going to launch our product for the non-medical while creating all the information and the qualification required to go into the medical market. We are now fundraising. $2.5 million. So do reach out to us. This is mainly to execute or to deliver products to our customer and to engineer and iterate with them. Yeah, this is us. Feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Zara. Do we have any questions from the jury?
Hello, yes, thank you. The pitch was really clear. Congratulations. The subject is difficult, so it was really good. I wanted to know, so I saw that you want to start with an easier market, but your plan is to enter in the medical market. How do you plan to deal with big players in the market and get the certifications necessary to act in that market?
Yes, so great question. So this was also always something that was in our mind. So actually, again, as I said, we wanted to go into non-destructive, so to the automated inspection, but we got a lot of customer pull from the medical side, since these companies are looking for this for new technologies. So for that, on the totally new development for the medical, we're working with partners that can do the qualifications. While for the other markets which are less regulated, we are able to spec in. So on the medical market, we're leveraging on partners that we already have, actually.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Always good to rely on partners either.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to Ireland, which I always say is my favorite country, and we'll hear from Lias.
Our world is a very noisy place. Acoustic materials are all around us. They're in every car we drive, every building we work in. Traffic and sirens cause a lack of sleep in noisy cities, and airports are forced to shut down at night, or they were when we used to use them more. The acoustic materials market is worth 8.7 billion, and with increasing regulations, it's continuing to grow. So at the moment, thick and heavy slabs of material are required to block out noise, especially at low frequencies, in everything from dishwashers to cars, machinery, and buildings. They're facing further regulations. Within aerospace, for example, they're required to reduce noise levels by 65%, and they don't have the technology to comply because the acoustic material industry hasn't innovated in decades. In comparison to the most widely used materials, our material absorbs noise up to 1,000 times more effectively at low frequencies, and it's 3 times thinner. Our patented technology enables designers to create smaller, lighter products with a significant reduction in noise and cost. To do this, we have harnessed the power of thixotropic materials by housing them in a cellular structure of our design. These materials are responsive, so it's a solid-like material when not in use, but it activates and becomes more liquid-like when exposed to energy. In this case, sound energy. So just like a household item like paint, ketchup, or honey, the material appears solid at rest and flows more when exposed to energy. It's this transition from solid-like to liquid-like and back that absorbs the sound energy. Industry demand has been validated. SoundBounce has superior acoustic performance. It's thin, non-toxic, cost competitive, and sustainable. By using SoundBounce, we will reduce production costs, component sizes, and emissions. Major industries need SoundBounce to unlock their next generation technologies. My co-founder Emer and I met when we were 15, and we bonded over a shared love of loud music and our experience with overexposure to harmful noise. This is where our passion for the reduction of harmful noise in the environment began. It was our alternative approach to research that led us to create SoundBounce, a breakthrough in advanced acoustic materials. We have a well-rounded team that consists of 15 people, including experts in material science, acoustics, marketing, predictive modeling, and sales. We know that the next generation of industrial innovation cannot be unlocked without new acoustic materials. The world is committed to significantly decreasing noise pollution, and we're producing the innovative materials needed to address this ambitious challenge. We're actively seeking strategic partners and encourage you to reach out today to discuss collaboration opportunities. We're going to revolutionize the way that we deal with noise in our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Rana. Jury questions. I see Ralph already unmuted.
Yeah, thanks a lot for this nice presentation, really good. So I like this approach with these having this thixotropic material, and I can really imagine that that works. But you mentioned that you have a low-cost material, and if I just compare that with a foam, which is normally used, or other simple materials, I cannot imagine that this is really cost competitive. Could you explain that?
Of course, the materials that we use are trade secrets, but the ingredients that we have utilized, we have selected to ensure that they will always be cost competitive with using something like a foam. The industries that we're targeting have incredibly slim margins, and we know that they won't be able to adopt a material if it's going to increase the cost of their components. So the ingredients we have selected from the first day of creating the technology, and as we scale it up while it advances and we expand how much functionality it has, we've always ensured that we've chosen materials that are going to enable it to stay cost competitive with a foam.
Okay, materials is one, but the other one is the manufacturing cost. Okay, but don't go in detail here. Thanks a lot.
So the manufacturing at the moment, we will have an industrial size sample this summer. If you'd like one, please let us know. The manufacturing is at the time right now. From what we are aware, it is non-complex for scale, but we are actively seeking an industrial partner who can enable us to scale it up to a more global reach with an established supply chain. So we're in the process of just scaling to that next level. So we don't have a figure for the manufacturing cost at the moment, but it should remain non-complex.
Thank you very much, Rona. And thank you, Ralph, for the questions. We'll go now to Conovate, if Carol is ready. She seems ready. It's okay, Carol. We'll get there.
Yeah. It's not showing up on my, oh, there it is. Okay, I got it.
There we go.
Share. So where'd it go?
It's because it takes a long time to get from Dublin to
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, got it. Hi, I'm Carol Hirschbiegel, and I'm CEO of Conovate. And I'm happy to be here today to tell you about our revolutionary material for evolutionary solutions. We've discovered in our labs a new form of solid carbon monoxide. This is a scientific revolution. I'm not here today to talk about that, but to tell you about the commercial potential of this new material. This new material has been scaled. While it was found at nanograms, it's been scaled significantly to be able to test it in lithium-ion batteries. With our testing, we've demonstrated that it can charge lithium-ion batteries much faster, therefore delivering what is needed for electric vehicle adoption. Let me acquaint you with lithium-ion batteries. What's happened over the years since lithium-ion batteries have been developed is the cathodes and the electrolytes have all been modified over the years, but the anode has seen no modifications over those years. Now is the time for a new solution, and we have it. It's the COFIDE anode. We've demonstrated that it has 2 times the capacity of the graphite. It charges 6 times faster, and it also leads to better safety because it reduces the chance of there being a short from one end of the battery to the other. In addition, it can be generated from things such as the sugarcane biogas, which is it's a more sustainable and lower cost solution. What's our magic? Our magic is that the spacing between the layers of the material is larger so that the lithium can intercalate much more quickly than it does with graphene and graphite. Where are we going? We're starting with our beachhead market into power tools. With that, then we'll move on to e-bikes and drones, and finally into electric vehicles and electronics. So in your future batteries, you shall have COFIDE as part of them. To get there, we're working with a strategic OEM partner. We're working on battery design, testing and validation, and that will lead to effective supply chain introductions. We have 2 paths to market. We'll start with a field-specific licensing path with a materials manufacturer, travel on to doing our own contract and toll manufacturing, and selling directly to battery manufacturers. We have a wonderful team of experts. My co-founder and I, supported by industry and other experts, and leading to a better solution for your batteries. We're seeking materials manufacturing partners with battery manufacturing customers. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks so much, Carol.
I have a question.
Please.
Hi. As far as I've understood now, so you're taking graphene oxide, you completely oxidize to carbon monoxide, solid carbon monoxide to widen the channels, and so that the ions can move in. So, but I guess you still need to align the layers to form the anode. So how do you do that?
Oh, so that is a trade secret on how we produce the material.
It's just a simple question.
Yeah. So, but I think the important thing is that we're creating something that's a lot like graphite in its microstructure, and so that naturally becomes aligned layers within that the micro powder particles that are similar to those that are like graphite. This allows us to actually have something that's a drop-in solution for the battery manufacturers. It looks and feels just like graphite as far as they're concerned, and can be adopted directly.
Yeah, and what I meant is actually, the ions come from the cathode, and then you need to have the channels in the same direction. How do you do that? If you just have a randomly distribution of your channels, how do the ions get to the inside the channel?
So similar to graphite, graphite is also when it's on the electrode, it is also randomly oriented, and the ions can find their way in. So because of the electrochemical difference between the two sides, there's a natural progression of how the ions can intercalate. So there's nothing that we do specifically to do a straight up alignment. It's more of a powder that has different orientations, but it works similar to the way that the graphite powders work with the alignment.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more question if I'm still have time.
Sure.
Thanks. Hi, I really like your presentations. There is the one slide in between. You show very straightforward strategies with a timeline where you want to do in 3 years or 5 years, start with e-bikes, drones, so on and so on. So my questions is more from the commercial side. What is your, let's say, market positions or strategies? Have you already engaged with those, let's say, potential partners, and how you position yourself there?
So our first partner is in our beachhead market, and so that will produce introductions to the battery supply chain. In the long run, the batteries that we will be designing with this first partner are a power tool build that is translatable to the e-bike and drone industry. Therefore, that will then be attractive for that industry to adopt that as the battery manufacturers are able to make it, and have that as a solution that is available.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, for the presentation and for the question, both Ran and Tanino. We will fly back to Europe. I hope you appreciate how I'm taking you on this very virtual journey. And we'll go to IonCraft if they're ready. Perfect.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Monty. I'm from IonCraft, and our mission is to make all plastic packaging recyclable. Plastics have great recycling potential. However, only 6% of the 200 million tons of plastic packaging produced every year is actually recycled. The rest ends up in landfills or is burned. Luckily, the awareness for this problem has risen in the recent years, so that public and political pressure on companies to change to sustainable packaging is rising every day. European laws impose recycling quotas of 50% by 2025. But in many cases, a change to sustainable packaging is technologically difficult. Chemical products have very high demands on their packaging. Not only do they have to be chemically resistant, they also have to be permeation tight. But standard packaging plastics cannot deliver all this at once. Therefore, inexpensive packaging plastics are combined with expensive barrier plastics in one container, making them expensive and non-recyclable. We can do better. We developed a chemically resistant barrier coating that can deliver even better product protection for lower costs. And the best part, it is completely recyclable. But why has no one done this yet? Well, first, because common plasma silicon oxide barrier coatings are not chemically stable enough for this application. Second, because a very high barrier performance is needed, especially for the transport of dangerous goods. And lastly, because of the many different shapes and sizes of containers on this market, which make the process development very difficult. After years of research, we have found answers to these challenges. We have developed a chemically resistant barrier coating and a special plasma reactor design for coating large containers. With our simulation-based process development, we can quickly adapt our processes to every container size and shape. The low cycle time of our coating application allows an inline integration of our machines in the packaging production process, as well as at the product filler, enabling a full integration into the current value chain. The flexibility of our technology platform enables us to offer coatings for many applications, opening the potential to make thousands of tons of plastic packaging recyclable every year. Our business model comprises development service, coating machine sales, and the licensing model, creating recurring revenue streams. We secured already €1 million of non-dilutive funding and are currently growing our team to make our vision become reality. We are looking for partners and investors for the industrialization and scale-up of our technology. And we are very much looking forward to exchange ideas with you. So let's get in touch. Thank you.
Thanks, Monty. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your very interesting pitch and your impressive innovation there. My question is, you said in the beginning that your solution would be 25% cheaper. I guess you mean 25% cheaper than the normal packaging with this barrier inside. Now, I just asked myself, how did you get to this number? Because obviously, if somebody would like to implement your technology in his processing, they need to buy vacuum, chemical vapor deposition chambers, and so on. So there will be quite a high capex investment cost at the same time. So how did you arrive there?
So what we did is, first of all, we talked to potential customers to find out what do these multi-layer systems cost, right? So that was our baseline. On the other side, we have already a good and very clear view, like knowledge about how much does our process cost in terms of base materials, electricity costs and such. And we have a very clear view on how much the machine in the end costs. So what we did is we calculated machine costs, then we calculated service costs, we calculated what the process costs with all together with electricity and everything, and came up what the cost per coating per container looks like in the end. And then we made the comparison, and that's where the 25% come from.
Thank you. One follow-up question: in chemical industry, pharmaceutical industry, and particularly in packaging, the certification is very important. Did you already do steps like CE certification or health and safety certifications? Because this is very important when we handle dangerous chemicals.
That is true. That is true. We have not done this yet with that, but the good thing about it is here at the Institute, see this kind of certifications. I'm sitting here at the Institute for Plastic Processing in Aachen, and certification processes is somewhat also born of the daily business here. When it comes to new plastics, where we can go through this process here. So we already have the know-how sitting basically next door, and we can, together with building our prototype and scaling up, we can at the same time also go through the process for the certification.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Wilhelm. And Monty, there's also one question, our first question, which is very exciting, in the YouTube live chat. Maybe you can quickly comment on this. It's from Florian Koppers. He would like to know if you can use the coatings for food packaging applications as well. And I guess that could also be related to the certification that Wilhelm mentioned.
That is true. Yeah, this goes more or less in the same direction. For food application, actually, it is already approved by FDA and EFSA. Both the Food and Drug Administrations of Europe and of the US, and it is already labeled as food safe. So we are, with our coatings, we are within the specs of these certifications. Therefore, our coatings can also be used in the food sector.
That's good to know. So Florian, if you have a specific reason why you're asking this, maybe get in touch with the guys from IronCraft.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Monty. We're not going very far now. We're going to hear from Grown Valve, our local startup from Berlin. So whenever you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm honored to be here to present our Grown Valve work. First, I want to thank AdMaCom team for offering us such a great opportunity. I'm Xiaolin, a PhD student from Charité Medical University of Berlin and German Heart Center Berlin, and I'm also a Chinese cardiac surgeon. Our Grown Valve is the spin-off from the Charité and German Heart Center Berlin that develops flawless heart valve processes that enable growth and is the result of 10 years of excellence research in the field of cardiovascular medicine. Our company was founded in 2019. Dr. Boris Schmidt is our CEO and my supervisor in Berlin. Today, we are aiming to draw upon the attention of potential investors, helping to finance the clinical trials and medical market introduction as the last steps before the global rollout. We are fulfilling that unmet clinical need with a completely new prosthetic valve for adults and children, implanted using a low-risk transcatheter technique. Our valve is made from patient-donated tissue pericardium, giving it lifelong durability, a once-in-a-lifetime solution that is affordable for patients and healthcare providers worldwide. Our core IP with patents are individual autologous heart valve manufacturing, cross-link for non-toxic auto tissue treatment, 3D shipping our heart valve and delivery system for jugular vein implantation. Our innovation eliminates the need for repeated heart valve replacement surgeries and lifelong medication. It is free from calcification, valve degradation, and bleeding complications. Furthermore, our finished preclinical trial shows our Grown Valve works as good as a native heart valve and is adopted by the body as of the body-owned tissue. Our next milestone will be the first in-human trial for adults and then for 15 children at German Heart Center Berlin and Munich, Leipzig Heart Center, Children's Hospital Zurich, and other heart centers in Europe this year. As a cardiac surgeon, we need a novel heart valve like a Grown Valve to meet the medical need for millions of valvular patients. So we aim to look for excellence heart centers to speed up our clinical validation and clinical trial, accelerate our company in Europe for market entry, seek collaborations with research groups, and apply for public funding in the future. During the last decade, we were funded by the EU, the Federal Ministry of Germany, and the Berlin Institute of Health. I'm very proud of our Grown Valve to be a rocket with its first ignition hits the orbit of adult heart valve market. The second ignition of the autologous heart valve in the resorbable stent for children will catapult the rocket beyond the moon into the completely new undiscovered market of artificial heart valves. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take a question from the jury.
Yes, hello, Xiaolin. Great speaking here.
One second. Okay, go ahead.
Xiaolin, thank you for this very impressive presentation. Was one of the most interesting and convincing products I've seen here so far during all the AdMaComs before. So my question refers to the production process, so to say. I understood that you are taking human tissue from the patients to create the valves. Now, my question is, how can I imagine the production of the valve? I mean, the patient has to provide a probe at a certain point, then you produce it, and then you give it back to the patient. So is everything done at your main site in Berlin, or do you have decentralized so-called production on site where the patients are treated, or somewhere in other countries where your product will be available to the market?
Oh, that's a very good question. Actually, our innovation has two parts. The first part is the kit. The kit includes the stent, the 3D shaping hardware mold, the delivery system, and the crosslink. When there is a patient in the hospital, the doctors can ask us to bring our kit to the operation room. Then we perform the mini thoracotomy to harvest the patient pericardium. After harvesting the pericardium, we put the pericardium onto our 3D shape hardware mold, use our non-toxic crosslink to treat the pericardium to maintain the normal structure of the cell and the other structure in the pericardium. Then we suture the hardware to our self-expandable stent and crimp it to our delivery system. Then we use our delivery system via the jugular vein or the femoral vein to deliver the hardware to the pulmonary valve position. Actually, our implantation has two parts. The first is the mini thoracotomy to harvest the pericardium, and the second is the hardware implantation. Yeah.
Thank you. And another one, in terms of regulation for medical devices you want to sell to the market, do you already have an idea when you will have cleared all these regulation jungle in order to be able to sell your product to the market?
Yeah. Actually, we want to perform our first in-human trial at the end of September, maybe. Yeah. And we also have an employee who works on the regulatory management, and we are applying. We have got the authority from the German Heart Center Berlin and other heart centers like Munich Heart Center. And we are applying for the FDA, and this is the last step before the global rollout, I think.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we have come close to the end of the pitches. We have one left. We know we're running a little bit over time, but I'm sure you'll stay with us because this last one is very interesting. So I'll hand it over to Arthur from Q&A Technology.
Okay, I hope all is okay with the presentation. Yeah. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Arthur. I'm CEO and founder of Q&A Technology. So the blue light emitters, this is something which will be always needed, as the blue color is the RGB palette, so it will be important for any application we deal with the images. And especially the blue light emitters are very important and interesting for display industry, who is continually looking for better or new blue light emitters. And especially blue quantum dots, this is something which a display industry is looking these days. As the TV sets which are already on the market, they are using green and the red quantum dots. We are just converting the light, and the next step will be using the micro LED with a very similar approach. But the most optimal one would be if we can make a quantum dots optically active, and for do this we need really still a high quality blue light emitting quantum dots. And the other important thing behind our motivation for our company is that still the optoelectronic industry is looking for printable semiconductors. So the mission of our company is developing the heavy metal-free blue light emitting quantum dots and inks based on this. So the company is located in Poland. We are 15 people. Most of them are R&D members, but also we have quite strong management team and working on that to strengthen this part. We work in our own labs here in Poland, 2 patents are already granted. We got some investors support already and recently some subsidy to speed up our work with this development. So what we do exactly? So first of all, we are developing the synthesis and technology of doing the synthesis of inorganic quantum dots. So these are small crystals of semiconductor. But at the same time, we put a lot of attention to work on the surface engineering, just to make this material adaptable to different solvents, to different host materials. And this knowledge also allows us to work on the inks and make the printing as a really nice approach for printing for the position of semiconductors. What is unique about the company is that, first of all, we achieve already some blue light emitting quantum dots at the level of MVP. And in addition, these materials, as I mentioned, are heavy metals free. They do not contain any rare elements inside. The surface can be really adjusted to various solvents and other host materials. And a quite important issue is that we are developing this technology in the scalable way. So here you can see some spy view of our reactor where we're synthesizing this blue light emitting quantum dots. So this allows us to do a lot of interesting things, especially controlling better the reproducibility and scalability of the process. So what is the main market for these materials? Of course, these are displays. But the blue light spectrum starts from 400 up to almost 500. So recently we achieved some nice results for this deep blue quantum dots, which we are still developing. And right now we're looking partners, mainly in area of flexible LED and security printing. But very recently we achieved the proof of the concept that our system, our technology can also produce this pure blue quantum dots, mainly interested for display industry. And right now we're looking the investment to speed up with this work as soon as possible to reach the product. So this is more or less the stage of development of our materials. So as mentioned, we have these deep blue materials at the level of MVP. With some partner, we already achieved some electroluminescence, just proving that this materials has potential for this market. At the same time, we were able to prepare inks, which could be printable with the resolution even down to 5 microns. And in this, for these materials, we are really looking right now for partners and customers just to validate material and to optimize its properties. At the same time, we will achieve proof of the concept for this pure blue materials. And in this area, we are really looking right now investor to build a pilot production line and also to speed up development process. So as mentioned, we are looking right now investors, partners, and advisors. So if you are really interested, please stay in touch. My name is Arthur, and yeah, that's it on our company from my side.
Thank you, Arthur. Jerry, questions?
Yes, I do. With quantum dots, follow me wherever I am. Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. It's amazing solution, amazing results. One question about, that the only company so far providing electroluminescence QD LEDs is Samsung.
Yeah.
So very limited customer choice. So what is your go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, okay, so the business model for us is that, first of all, we would like to validate the synthesis approach with the pilot production lines, just to increase the capability. And so what we will do that, we would like to licensing this technology for example, for display industry, but at the same time, we would like to grow in a horizontal way, trying to penetrate the other markets, being able to produce materials and selling at a slightly higher price than for the mass production. And on the side of the Samsung, you're right, they are the leaders, they are the main customer, but there is a lot of followers. Like this was the case of the recent quantum dots-based displays. And we have already some confirmation that also the other companies are really interested in these materials as well. So
yeah, maybe one follow-up question. Have you ever thought of utilizing your material for labeling purposes, for cells or for biological systems? Because there is a huge demand there for stable blue emitters. That could be actually a really good other approach to penetrate the market.
Yeah, this is one of the solutions. We did some tests with some bioconjugation as well, But this is a different model. It's at least at the beginning working mainly in B2C, right? Because and the customer, they usually need milligrams for tests, and they can work for a few months with the milligram, right? And as a business perspective, the better is to start with the B2B to companies which will order much higher, especially when you're setting the company on the technological approach, which should give high quantities of the material. And this is one of the perspective on this horizontal growth in the future, right? That just licensing the technology to displays, just to let them scale up as they need and penetrating the other markets. There is also in the photovoltaics, there are some potential and in the other market as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of our presentations. I hope you enjoyed that. Before I ask you to vote for your favorite pitch, I'd like to remind you about the last 6 ones that you watched. So we heard from Ellipsium, working on materials for X-ray detectors. We then listened to how Laios is going to make the world a little bit less noisy. We went to Conovate, who told us about their anode material solutions for battery manufacturers. Then IonCraft presented their plasma coating technology for plastic packaging. Grown Valve told us about the heart valve prosthesis for children and adults. And finally, we heard from Q&A Technology about their blue light emitting quantum dots. So what I would like to ask you to do now, if you are watching this on YouTube, and if you are not one of our startups, is to vote for your favorite pitch. So to do that, you will have to go on your either phones or desktop computers to the link you see here, sly.do, and the code to enter the voting is AdMaCom. And you will have a couple of minutes to do this. Christina will probably also put this link in the live chat on YouTube. You will have a couple of minutes to do this as we hear from Ferdinand, telling us a little bit about what he thinks of AdMaCom and the world in general.
So it's me now. So what do I think about AdMaCom and the world in general? So let me start with the latter one. It's a crazy place, particularly right now. And I'm happy that we have AdMaCom because that certainly is not a crazy place. That's a very excellent place for startups and a very excellent place for industry and also for institutions. Before I come to some final words to the startups, it's one round of thanks. I'd like to thank the organizers of this round of AdMaCom that also were the organizers of the last rounds of AdMaComs, and they do so much work in between the AdMaComs that is not recognized really often enough, the amount of high quality work that Antonia, Christina and Chris are doing, and silent online round of applause for the three of them for doing all of this for the startups and for the members. Secondly, I like to thank the mentors. They really don't get any money for this, believe it or not. They do this for free. They're doing this, most of them, for many years now. So the mentoring gets better and better in quality because many mentors getting more and more experience on how it works and what's important. And this is one of the very strong elements of the AdMaCom. And I like to thank all the members of INAM that make, and sponsors, of course, that make this possible. Without the income and the contributions of the members and the sponsors, nothing would happen. And so it's pretty much the same as with the startups. Money is the biggest accelerator and the biggest enabler. And if somebody out there has a little bit to spare, is interested in what we are doing, feel free, talk to us. We have a bank account, we can help you. So let me go to the startups. I have a few more minutes, or I just take a few more minutes. And I like to spend a few words on those startups which have not been selected to the final round here. So it was this time a very, very large group of applications that we got. We every year have a lot of applications, and it's always somehow a pity because we have overlooked a few which were also great, as wonderful and as good as the ones that we have chosen. So if anybody of you is out there and is listening to this demo day here and these presentations here, don't be discouraged. Come back to us. Try again. This is something, persistence, patience, and the continuity of work will give you the success. And this is the same here. So don't be disencouraged. Last few seconds on this round of AdMaCom startups. I listened now to all the pitches and I mentored only a few of you, and I'm already regretting that I couldn't mentor the other half that that wasn't on my schedule. I would have loved to. All of you are wonderful. All of you are great. What a variety of technologies and technical and market fields you represent. It's so absolutely exciting. That as a mentor, I mentioned that a few times, we should actually pay money for being allowed to mentor you. We have a great group, and the group is actually also very different from its status in their lifetime as a startup. So we have startups which are already very much advanced, and we have startups which are still some months and maybe some years away from entering the marketplace. And I can't stop without giving a bit of end advice for you for the next weeks and months. You cannot, if you are a younger startup, if you still have some way to go, you cannot bypass. Even if you would like to be a later startup now, you still have to do the process. When you do your product, please don't forget that the manufacturing process has to be part of the product. If you talk about what's so good about your product, make the USPs tangible. Think about that not everybody on your audience, not every of your customer might be as brilliant as you are. And sometimes it makes sense to keep things keep it stupid simple, and explain it in a very clear way. And when you move forward, think about the revenue stream that you are planning on getting. Think where should the money come from? And the last not least, for the younger ones of you, is business development and marketing is not a necessary evil. It's something that you want to have as soon as possible in your team and on board. Keep that in mind as you go forward. And the last words for the later startups, I really hope that all the investment expectations will be met over the next few months. And I'm fairly certain most of you will achieve the investment successes here. Be clear about what kind of investor you really want, you really need, and you really like. You are in the world of abundance of opportunities, and young people, young companies, and exciting ideas is what the investor community is looking for. So find the right match for you. Be selective also on this end is a piece of recommendation I would like to give you. And with that, Antonia mentioned at the beginning that we're going to stay with you as we stayed with every final round of AdMaCom participants. So we will watch you, we will talk to you, we will be in constant communication, and I'm already very excited to see how successful you will be in the next few months and in the next few years. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ferdinand. We'll definitely stay in touch, and we'll definitely be watching you, but we'll also try to support you, not just watch you. So stay close to INAM, and we'll see how we can support you. I'd now like to ask Konstantin Hansen from IBB to say a few words as well. They're one of our main sponsors for AdMaCom. And I would also like to ask him to present the Mentors Award. So just to remind you, the Mentors Award is an average of all of the scores that you've received from all the many mentoring sessions you've had. They were very close, but we were able to do the math, and there is one winner. So Konstantin will tell you in a moment who that is. Please, Konstantin, you have the floor. Konstantin, can you hear me? I'm hoping you're still here.
Hello, 1 second. I have the wrong screen now.
No problem.
to find my screen. I have the full screen. Can you please just do, or how can I? Yeah, it's better. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, hello and welcome everyone. I hope you can hear me good. And yeah, my name is Konstantin Hansen, and together with my colleague Desi Tortzen, we joined the AdMaCom in the mentoring sessions. Now I think it's the 5th time for us. Both of us, we are key account managers at the IBB, and we try to help companies to find suitable financing instruments for their financial needs here in Berlin. The IBB is a public development bank owned by the city of Berlin, and our task is to support companies in realizing their projects, investments, and R&D activities here in Berlin. With our activities in supporting companies, we want to create qualified jobs and make Berlin a location for science and high tech. IBB is also a sponsor of the AdMaCom because we think the AdMaCom is an excellent platform for getting in touch with tech companies from all over the world and show them that Berlin has much to offer. This year, we've got in touch with 3 very interesting companies that were Q&A Technologies, Valve, and Biomatics. And these companies show that they're really, really high tech companies, which have really, really high-tech technology showed us, which is spread all over the world. And of course, our task is to hook these companies to come to Berlin. And all these companies we spoke to, of course, they have a relation to Berlin. One company is already located in Berlin, and of course, 2 of these companies are interested maybe in coming to Berlin. And yeah, when we get this, it should be a great success for us. So yeah, and of course, and it always is a success for us to convince a company to come to Berlin and start up its business here in Berlin. And that is our goal to achieve that. And I think the last time we achieved that goal a few times. Yeah, thank you, Antonia. And now I'm not right sure if I just go on or if I give back to you.
Yes, you can, and I'll present a slide for you if you are ready to announce the winner.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great honor. Yes, today I have the honor to announce the winner of the AdMaCom Spring 2021 Mentor's Favorite Award. And I got this letter from Chris right now via carrier pigeon. I hope you can see it. And yeah, the Oscar goes to, oh no, sorry. I mean, the Mentor's Favorite Award goes to Lias from Ireland with their innovative acoustic material Soundbound. Congratulations.
Congratulations, ladies. It would be nice to hear some claps, but imagine claps. Congrats.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thanks, Konstantin, for telling us more about IBB and also for presenting this award, which wouldn't be possible without sponsors like you. So thank you very much. We have another award that our audience has been voting for, which is the crowd favorite. So this is a very intuitive prize. Basically, the crowd voted on which pitch they liked the most, also taking into account technology team and so on. And the winner of the AdMaCom crowd favorite 21 Spring Edition is Compare, working on healable composite technologies.
Thank you.
Congrats, guys.
Thank you.
Very good. So we have one more prize, as you know, which is the bigger prize, the AdMaCom winner. And this one takes a little bit longer because the jury has gone to debate, discuss, hopefully not fight, but potentially fight, to find out who the winner of this edition should be. So for that, they need at least 30-40 minutes, which we will give them. So what we're going to do now is say goodbye to everyone on the live stream. But first, I would like to ask them to get in touch. If you're watching this, if you're thinking INAM is interesting, go to our website, find out more. You have my email address here if you'd like to reach out to me directly. Otherwise, because this is a complicated email, you can write us at info@inam.berlin. You can also listen to our podcast, Startup the Science, where many startups that we work with are featured, interviewed. You can find out a lot about their technologies by listening to a 20, 30-minute episode. And finally, follow us on LinkedIn if you're not following us yet, because in 2 hours or so, as soon as we manage, but we said 2 hours just to have some gap there for us, we will be announcing the AdMaCom winner there. So as soon as we know it, we will let you know as well. And for the startups, I would ask you to take a break, but stay in our Zoom call so that we can tell you the winner in person in about, let me see, what time is it? Maybe we'll come back in 30 minutes. So I want to say 4:20 our time. Okay. For everyone else, thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to stay in touch. And if you are a startup in materials, we're taking applications for the next AdMaCom cohort. So just go to our website and you'll find out more. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you soon. All right.